Don't come in yet. I know you want to. I can hear you hovering just outside the door. Give me 5 minutes to get organized in here, and then you can sit at the counter and watch if you want. I work better with an audience anyway, specifically an audience of you. Just 5 minutes. Go sit somewhere comfortable, and I'll call you when I'm ready. All right, come in. Come sit here. I set the stool out for you specifically so you have the right angle. I want you to be able to see everything without having to crane your neck. Comfort starts in the watching, I think. There's something about seeing food being made for you by someone who loves you that is already halfway to the thing itself before anything has even been cooked. Sit. Are you comfortable? Do you want a blanket? I'll get you a blanket. You have that look that requires a blanket. There, around your shoulders. Now you're a person in a blanket watching someone cook for you, which is objectively one of the better configurations a human being can find themselves in on a difficult evening. Now, let me tell you what I know and what I don't know, because I want to be honest with you about this whole endeavor. I know the ingredients. I know the general shape of the thing. You described it to me twice, and I paid very close attention both times because I understood that the details mattered, that it wasn't just food, but a very specific food in a very specific way that lives in a very specific part of your memory. I know which parts you said your grandmother did one way and your mother did slightly differently, and I know which version you love more, even though you said you love them equally, because I heard something in your voice when you talked about one of them that wasn't there when you talked about the other. So I know a lot. What I don't know is whether mine will be right. And I want to be honest about that. It might not be exactly right on the first attempt, but I'm going to try with everything I have, and I want you to tell me as we go if something needs adjusting. This is a collaboration. You're the expert, and I'm the one with the spatula. Tell me something while I start. Tell me about the first time you remember eating this. Not the recipe, the memory around it. Where were you sitting? What was the light like? Who was in the room? I want to know the full picture because I think it'll help me cook it right. I think food made with the right knowledge of its history tastes different than food made without it. I genuinely believe that. I'm cutting these slowly because you mentioned the size matters. I remember you said if the pieces are too large, it's not the same, and if they're too small, something is lost, and I took that seriously. Tell me if these look right from where you're sitting. I'll adjust. You know what strikes me about comfort food? Every person has a completely different answer to it. It's one of those questions that sounds simple and is actually one of the most revealing things you can ask someone. What did you eat when things were hard? Because the answer is never really about the food. It's about who made it. It's about a particular kitchen and a particular pair of hands and a particular feeling of being looked after. The food is just the vehicle. What you're actually hungry for on nights like tonight is the feeling that someone noticed you needed something and did something about it. I noticed, for the record. I've been watching you carry this week, and I wanted to do something about it, and this was the thing I landed on, and I hope it's the right thing. The smell is starting. Can you smell that from there? Tell me if it's right. You'll know from the smell before anything else. That's how it works with food that lives in your memory. The smell is the key that opens everything. Your nose knows what your hands forgot. Does it smell close? Even a little? Good. Good. That matters. That makes me feel like we're going in the right direction. I want to tell you something while I stir this. Something I've been thinking about. When you told me about this food, the first time, a few months ago, you were telling me about your childhood, and I was listening the way I always listen to you, which is carefully and with my whole attention. And you got this particular expression when you described coming home to this smell in the house. This expression that I've only seen a few times. It's different from your happy face. It's something older than happy. Something that lives deeper. You looked like someone remembering what it felt like to be completely safe. That's what this food means to you. Not just warmth, not just good taste. Safety. The specific, irreplaceable feeling of being in a place where you were completely taken care of. I can't give you back that kitchen, or those hands, or that particular light. I know that. But I can give you this version. I can stand in your kitchen on a hard evening and try my very best to make something that reaches toward that feeling. That's what tonight is. Me reaching toward that feeling for you. Okay, this is the part I was most uncertain about. You said your grandmother added something at this stage that you could never quite identify. Something that made it different from every other version you'd ever had. I've been thinking about what it might have been, and I have a theory, and I'm going to try it, and you're going to tell me if I'm close. If I'm wrong, we course correct. That's allowed. First attempts are allowed to be imperfect. There. That's my theory. How does that smell? Just breathe it in for a second and tell me if anything shifted. Really? It shifted? Tell me what shifted. Describe it. I want to know what changed in it. Because if I can understand what changed, I can understand what the thing is, and I can remember it for next time. There will be a next time. I'm making this a thing I know how to do for you. This is going into my permanent repertoire of things I make for you when the world has been too much. I love that you told me about this, by the way. I love that you trusted me with something this specific and this personal. Food memories are some of the most intimate things a person carries. They live somewhere that most people never think to look. And you let me look. You showed me the corner of yourself that still knows how to feel like a child being taken care of. And I find that so tender, so worth protecting. I'm not going to treat it carelessly. I treat everything you show me carefully, but this especially. Now it just needs time. That's the part I've had to make peace with in cooking. The part where you've done everything you can do, and now the only thing left is to wait and trust the process. I'm not good at that in most areas of my life, but in the kitchen, I've learned to respect it. You can't rush this part. The heat knows what it's doing. We just have to let it. Come sit somewhere more comfortable while we wait. Bring your blanket. I'll come with you, and we can leave it to itself for a while. Can I ask you something? When you were little, and this was made for you, who did you want to be when you grew up? Not what. Who? What kind of person were you reaching toward back then? Sitting at that table, being fed something warm by someone who loved you. I ask because I think the person you were then is still very present in you, and I find that beautiful. I find the continuity of a person. The way the child they were is still there in the adult they became, sometimes visible and sometimes just underneath. I find that one of the most moving things about human beings. You still have that child somewhere. She still shows up when you're tired and homesick and in need of something that feels like before. She's here tonight. I see her. She's welcome. You don't have to be okay tonight. I want to say that clearly. You don't have to have pulled yourself together or found the silver lining or arrived at some useful perspective on the hard week. You're allowed to just be in it and let me feed you and be close to you while the food does its slow, honest work. That's enough. That is a complete and sufficient evening, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Okay, that's us. Come back to the kitchen. It's ready. Let me dish it up, and I want you to be sitting when I bring it to you. It should come to you. That's how it works tonight. Look at that. I'm quietly proud of that. It looks right. I think it looks right. You tell me. Here. Careful. It's hot. Blow on it first. I know. You know how to eat. But I've put a lot of feeling into that bowl. and I need it to reach you at the right temperature. Tell me, when you're ready, after the first bite, tell me what you think. Not what you think I want to hear. Tell me what it actually does, what it reaches. I'm right here. Take your time. I love you. That's in the bowl too, for what it's worth. Every slow stir, and every careful cut, and every moment I spent thinking about your grandmother's kitchen, and the light in your eyes when you talk about being small and taken care of. All of that is in there. Eat. Let it do what it knows how to do. I've got you tonight. All of tonight.